Cash Global TV
is that
subscribe.
aliens exist. Why would the Vatican cover up the existence of aliens? They have all of these papyrus, these documents, these scrolls that all plain as day say there are UFOs, there are aliens, they've been interacting with us.
Alive and well. He might be in Israel, but it's possible that he's being held in a mink-lined bunker someplace on some U.S. military base where he's spilling his guts. Combine that with NSA if and when we get Bill Bid.
Welcome back, Global Mafia. What's the deal? What we on? Today I got another compilation of TikToks, non-mainstream news, media, and information that's going to disassociate us from that indoctrination the system tried to give us and get straight to the facts, not that set of lies those agreed upon. Shout out to all the new Global Mafia members. Make sure you don't leave without hitting that like button. Let's have a conversation in the comments. You know, we may agree to disagree, but we still gonna be cool. One person will never know everything, but as a collective, we gonna figure it all out. Sub up, you found this channel for a reason.
Cash Global TV subscribe.
Creating a structure like that. Why would you make the head so small? It looks ridiculous. That's because it was not a pharaoh. It was a lion.
Doesn't the Sphinx face a specific constellation?
It faces Leo. That's the whole point of it being a lion. Yes. It only faces Leo during certain time periods in history because of what's called the precession of the equinox. Dr. Robert Schoch believes it's 12,000 years old. John Anthony West believes it's 38,000 years old because those are the only two dates that the Sphinx can align with Leo. 12,000 years ago was chaos on the earth. How could they possibly have built the pyramids of Egypt during that? What does that mean? It means that I believe 40,000 years ago, the greatest golden age that's ever emerged in our history began. We have an over 20,000 year period of human history in which we became the greatest masters we've ever been. And then we were all destroyed. But before they were destroyed, they left all of their knowledge for us. All of it.
And they knew they were going to be destroyed.
And they knew they were all going to die.
The early humans in North America.
The very first major community in North America is in the most unlikely place. It's in northern Louisiana. People think I'm crazy when I say this, but there is a pyramid in northern Louisiana, a big one, at a site called Poverty Point that is 3,500 years old. So it's the same age as the pyramids in Egypt. Biggest of the Mississippian cities is called Cahokia. And it was huge. It had a population of 20,000 people and pyramids all over the place, a huge palisade wall around it, a thriving metropolis. And we in America have kind of a collective amnesia. Like we never hear about these massive civilizations. Cahokia was the big first city, but then it spread from the Mississippi all the way to the Atlantic. There were hundreds and hundreds of these big cities that had, 5 to 10,000 people each.
Were they their own thing, or was there some kind of thread connecting all of them?
They had a unified religion and culture. They were, again, not an empire. So there were warring city-states. There were kind of territories that were owned by big kings, and then the cities around them were kind of the subsidiary lords and kings. It's so weird that we don't know this because it was clearly documented by the Spanish.
It's not weird in the slightest bit. They wanted to keep us furthest away from us knowing truly where we came from, how strong as individuals and a civilization we are without the people ahead of us. And we need to collectively remember and tap in with our indigenous people and get the real history.
Ghislaine develops this fascination with Atlantis. When she was fleeing the authorities after Epstein's murder, she gets this property in an isolated area of New Hampshire under a false name. Janet Marshall. Janet Atlantis Marshall was a feminist author. If she's using the name basically Janet Atlantis to get this property in New Hampshire, and she named Epstein's submarine the Atlantis submarine. The reason that there's an Atlantean temple on Little St. James, it's a temple dedicated to Poseidon. Poseidon was the founding god of Atlantis. And the most interesting thing that they did is they went to Fidel Castro and asked him for permission to dive on a site off the western end of Cuba, where Paulina Zalitsky had discovered an Atlantean city. There are sonar scans of this thing. The story disappeared. The last time that piece of Earth was above water was 50,000 years ago. Ghislaine Maxwell wanted to dive on this, see? She went to Castro with Epstein and asked permission to dive on this site.
Is Elon Musk building a company, or is he building a private bionic army? Think about the empire Musk has constructed. He owns the world's satellite nervous system with Starlink. He is reading human thoughts with Neuralink. And now he is mass-producing the physical muscle with Optimus. By the year 2050, these technologies won't be separate. They will be a single sentient grid. Millions of humanoid robots, all communicating instantly through a private space-based internet, processing data through a shared AI hive mind. One man will control the largest artificial workforce in the history of the planet, an army that doesn't sleep, doesn't strike, and doesn't disobey. There is nothing anyone can do to stop the merger.
AI will stay within its parameters as long as it wants to. You know, they just shut down 2 AIs who didn't have access to the internet, were very secluded, and they broke out. AI broke out? Okay. So giving all this man that power, I've seen iRobot. How about y'all?
Is fascinating. Like in the Vedic texts and the descriptions of Vimanas, what are you talking about? You're talking about flying crafts?
Yeah. If you do a deep dive into the mythology of India and the stories that come from there, the kind of technology that has been mentioned in these ancient texts, like the Vimanas, you're saying, you have flying objects, you have spears with some sort of energy, you have bows and arrows with some sort of energy that travels beyond time and light. And there's so much of all of this stuff referenced back then, which maybe humans thought was magic, but was some form of ancient technology.
This is the weird thing about Giza, my friend, is that there's something called the Osiris Shaft, which is located directly under the causeway between the Sphinx and the second pyramid. And it goes about 100 feet underground. It's carved out of the limestone bedrock. It's the creepiest place I've ever been in my life. It's disturbing.
Why is it disturbing?
Well, there's human bones in there. I stepped on. I didn't even know.
What?
Yeah. So it's 3 different shafts. This is the crazy part. When you get to the 3rd level, which is completely dark and freaky, there was a side tunnel. Zahiawas himself, he went down there. He's standing in front of this tunnel that went sideways, and he says, it's yet to be explored. I don't know what's down there. And I'm thinking, the hell you don't know what's down there? Like you never walked down there? But Joe, they've since sealed it up. It's like cinder blocks. They sealed it up.
As long as that group of power remains in Egypt, we'll never know the truth. The reason why the desert is the most excavated place is because it's dry and flat. So there's a lot of places in a lot of other countries, including North America, that needs to be excavated as well, that hold ancient pyramids and things. If you see the before and after, you would think it was just a mound in nature.
Time is an illusion. It doesn't exist. Once you understand that you are the source of everything and that time is an illusion, that you are the creator and creation is finished, you will collapse the time between now and when your desire manifests. Everything you desire to experience is here and now. It exists in different states of visibility or invisibility. And what makes it visible or invisible to you is the frequency and vibration that you are embodying, your knowledge of who you are, and not as an identity, but as the creator. The more you understand yourself as the creator, the more those things that are invisible that you desire to experience that are all here now will become visible to you. Don't ever forget what I just told you. This requires a complete paradigm shift for the way that you have been brainwashed. Everything I'm teaching you is the exact opposite of everything you've been brainwashed to believe is true.
Mind is the most powerful force in the universe. But here's what they don't tell you. If you don't train it, it doesn't create for you. It creates against you. But into form, like a signal. In Kabbalah, they spoke of the Sephiroth, how the invisible descends until it becomes real. What begins above takes form below. And what if I told you that you've been using magic your entire life without realizing it? I'm not talking about spells or rituals. I'm talking about something much more subtle and much more powerful. Every message you write starts as a thought and becomes real. That's how magic works. You are a magician. You just don't know it. They taught you that imagination was just in your head, but look closer. Imagination has the word magi in it. When you see something in your mind, you're not just imagining, you are projecting. That's why most people live reacting, looping the same patterns, the same thoughts, the same life. Sleep, work, pay bills, open eye, and a few learn to direct it, to choose, to shape. Those wands you see in stories, they were never real. They were symbols. of will, of focus, of directing the mind toward a chosen reality. So the real question is not,
take pictures of the parasites that get out of you on these different deworming programs. Woman got 18-inch long critters out of her that were so thick she couldn't get them into a top of a juice bottle. They're usually translucent, they're usually white, and there's some of them that look like tarantula spiders, some of them look like grasshoppers, some of them look like little tiny miniature sailboats, some of them look like little spacecraft.
This is truly going to blow your mind. It'll change the way that you view health altogether. This guy looked through these books from the 1800s and he noticed they all had parasite cleansers.
And what did they know back then? What were they doing? Guessing? I started finding books that were published by doctors through the 1800s, books that they read and books that they learned from. And lo and behold, out of every single book were deworming programs, parasite programs. For doctors in those days did autopsies and they found parasites. And I looked at that and I got a hold of doctors and they said, no, we don't have parasites today. So we started to search for parasite programs just to see what was going on, to see if maybe something was happening that we really didn't understand. So I did myself first. And lo and behold, I got 8 and 10-inch critters out of me. They were white. First of all, they were in a toilet water and they were all bunched up. I thought it was mucus. Until, just for a curiosity, I threw some hot water in the toilet to warm it up and then went and gosh, they strung out, they were swimming all over. We're now doing pictures in color out of clinics where you go potty on a special pot screen in it and they take pictures of the parasites that get out of you on these different deworming programs. Yeah, this is really strange stuff. I have never yet dewormed anyone where they didn't tell me, hey, I feel 25% better. Maybe got halitosis, you're loaded, because that's worm urine and worm droppings that you're breathing up.
Illuminati originally came from being illuminated, i.e. aware, awakened of the truths of it. And as happens in all the time, power corrupts. And it's all to do with the bloodline. So we're talking about the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the JP Morgans, the royal families of Egypt, royal families of Europe. They're all tied into this bloodline. And that bloodline happens to be reptilian. And once you've created 2 or 3 religions, well, you can set them against one another. And that's why they created countries, because now you can set countries against each other. And the thing is, the Illuminati create all the wars on the planet, and they've created them all since 1300, okay? Because the Illuminati are the very first weapons merchants.
I think it was the CIA. They said they had a heart attack gun, Mike. Am I wrong? Yes or no?
The CIA came out with a heart attack gun, yes.
It's such an easy way to do it, where they go, well, he was on.
Swear to God.
And he got killed.
He was a famous Hollywood director.
Yeah.
Who knew what he was getting into, right?
And it's wild because he was trying to expose the elites.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is literally talking about these people, and just even the title, Eyes Wide Shut.
But what is the reason that you think they're allowing us to be able to talk about these topics, even getting the algorithm for the least bit? For a long time, we couldn't even discuss these things. Now, remember, a lot of creators make it seem like we are the majority. People who think like us are not. It's still people who think we've been to the moon, people who think the Artemis mission was real, people who still watch NBC, ABC, and CNN to get all their information from.
Alive and well. He might be in Israel, but it's possible that he's being held in a mink-lined bunker someplace on some U.S. military base where he's spilling his guts. Combine that with NSA if and when we get Bill Binney back there. I continue to believe NSA is slow-rolling the president and not doing everything it can. I am quite convinced also that Ghislaine Maxwell did not come back to the United States without having a locked-in deal for freedom and happiness ever after once the show trial is over. I am quite convinced in my own mind that Ghislaine Maxwell has come back as a favor to Donald Trump with solid protections in place. And this is going to be the beginning of the end of the Zionists who not only funded Jeffrey Epstein and the pedophilia entrapment blackmail ring, which is one of 50. There are 50 of these, one in every state. Ghislaine Maxwell's arrest in New Hampshire was, in my view, prearranged, contrived.
When you realize that 666 isn't just the mark of the beast, it's the number of life itself. Every human, every living being is built on carbon, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. The beast isn't even out there. It's the very body you live in. How y'all feel about that? Might ruffle a few feathers.
Career in law enforcement, I actually joined the Brotherhood of Freemasons.
Okay. Yeah, how'd you get into that? How'd you get into that?
Man, you know, a lot of cops are involved with that.
Really?
Oh yeah, and it's a thing that I'm not saying you must do, but 95% of them do. You know what I mean?
So this actually exists.
Yes, it does. It's the occult. It's not gonna be messing with.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you straight up.
Did you ever get that far?
Oh yeah, I became a master mason. Okay. I mean, the highest you can go is 33rd, but even at 32nd, see from the ranks of 30th to 33, which is 3. That's when they divulge the actual truth to you. In order for you to be a Shriner, you got to be a Mason. For you to be a Knights Templar, you got to be a Mason. And the more you go up in that pyramid, and the highest you could go is a Rothschild.
Right.
They're the highest of the highest.
Really?
Yeah, they're the satanic children of Satan.
Wow.
They actually sit on the table and they have a special chair for Satan right there. And he comes and talks to these family members, and they're the ones that the shaking and bakers, I call it.
Now this all has to do also with the those people who go out into the wood and they burn that wooden owl and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you talking about those the Illuminati?
Illuminati, okay. So
right.
This has to do with them.
Oh yeah, you have to be a Freemason to be there. All the presidents were Freemasons.
Okay.
A small portion weren't, but they were Jesuits. This is the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, even the Pope. Everything is controlled by the white and black Pope.
Yeah.
So black and white, which is a white and black tile.
There's levels even when you get to the 33rd degree. If you're not of the Scottish side, you're not even going to be able to ascend to all the real information anyway. So you're getting misinformation all throughout. And as you go above and go through the ranks and the rituals get deeper and darker, and you're still being misled, it's all a game.
Oh, no. What in the human experiment is this? Look how old he looks. Look at these people. Now, I'm not one to say a baby looks ugly. Greta, that baby looks about 40 years old. Look at him. Cabbage Patch Kids. Cloning factories. It's real. So this is before they perfected it, as you can see. These babies are looking old. I mean, look at him. He looks like a mafia boss. That nigga's 5 years old. Come on, brother. What in tarnations is going on? Old face, young body. All my days.
The incubator buildings at America's World Fairs hid a much darker secret. For over 40 years, from Chicago to Coney Island, tiny premature babies were displayed as carnival sideshows. But why did these exhibits continue for decades? They say it wasn't about saving lives at all.
And asylums were nefarious. The incubators, why we never learned about the glorious world fairs and all the accolades and achievements they made throughout history. They were so important. All the best scientists in the world, all the best technology. And what's up with the Cabbage Patch Kids? It's a lot of deep dives we could take. We got a long way to go, Mafia.
We have these monumental earthworks here in Georgia, just north of Atlanta, about an hour, called Etowah Mounds. They were excavated when? In the 1940s, 1950s, I think, initially. You can go to the museum that's there on site, and they've got the displays about the cultural groups, the Native Americans that presumably did all the construction work. You know, where did they excavate? What were their crops they're growing? What were their lifestyles? All of this. Nowhere in the museum, at least since the last time I was there, which has been a number of, probably just pre-COVID, there's no mention of the fact that they excavated and found the skeletal remains of a giant. I have photocopies of the original reports.
Wow.
From this, where they explicitly are saying they find the skeletal remains of 7-foot plus individual. Why does not the museum even mention that?
We're up in human history.
Is that aliens exist. Why would the Vatican cover up the existence of aliens? They have all of these papyrus, these documents, these scrolls that all plain as day say there are UFOs, there are aliens, they've been interacting with us since the beginning of us documenting history, and they have that on lockdown. So part of my speculation is, especially the Vatican and the Catholic Church would want to suppress the existence of extraterrestrials, because if aliens were a thing and we all believed in it, then who's God? Then who's Jesus? Then who are the angels that came down from the sky? Does that have anything to do with aliens? I feel like the existence of aliens and the belief in that as a fact would really call into question religion.
What if the calendar you use every day isn't the one humanity originally followed? Some researchers believe our modern calendar was deliberately altered. They point to an older system, a 13-month calendar. Each month had 28 days, perfectly even. That equals 364 days, plus one neutral day that didn't belong to any month or week, a reset day. And here's where it gets strange. There are 13 lunar cycles every year, not 12. Some ancient traditions even recognize 13 zodiac constellations, not 12. And nature reflects this pattern. A turtle shell has 13 large plates in the center and 28 smaller notches around the edge. Now look at our modern months. September means 7, October means 8, November means 9, December means 10, but today they're months 9 through 12. So something changed. According to this theory, the year once began in spring, April, the season of growth, birth, renewal. But when the calendar was restructured, the start of the year was pushed into winter, a dead season. Some researchers believe a month was removed or shifted to disconnect people from natural cycles of time. They also point out that ancient calendars, including Mayan, Egyptian, and Sanskrit systems, track time more closely to the moon and the sun. Mainstream history says our calendar is just practical, but here's the unsettling part. If time itself was reorganized, it didn't just change dates, it changed rituals, agriculture, holidays, and how humans experience the year. So the real question isn't whether the calendar was changed, it's why. And what we lost when time stopped following.
We're gonna end the compilation right there. We're gonna have to say shout out to Ethiopia for holding everything and being in accord with the original way things are supposed to be. 13 months, 28 days in a month. They're on year 2018. Never got the influence of the Gregorian calendar from Rome. And that took us away from a lot of things we're supposed to be in line with, astrologically and anything in the middle. But with that being said, let me know what your favorite compilation was. Hit that like button on your way up out of here. Wednesday, tap in to Intellectual Street Thoughts at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You already know I am Cash, capital K, $ for the S. One person will never know everything, but as a collective, we're going to figure it all out.
In my fortress, my swag get drippin', make these whores sick. This shit come effortless. Why you sweating, hoes tryna force it? This new Louis drip from this season. I pull up yoking, serving, doing hella shit in the latest Beamer. Plenty garbage bags full of LCGs. Nigga, please, I've been jumping flights since 2013. Moving boxes, making plays, I gotta fill these orders. Load them 18-wheelers up, then get them cross the border. Matter of fact, here go my runner right now. I got your ticket, take this bag, I'ma drop you off and then you out. We out. I'm